Well, yes, thank you, music team. Good morning, good morning. Welcome. Welcome to this first Sunday in October. And just so you know, we did postpone our picnic, which was supposed to be today after service. And stay tuned, and we will come up with our rain check date for our annual picnics. We want to welcome you to Unity of Richmond, those of you who are here with us for the very first time, or the second or third or the 100th time. And thank you for those of you who are joining us online. I'm Reverend Valorie K. Gunsch, and it's my joy to be here with you today. And so let us say our Unity of Richmond affirmation together. Unity of Richmond is abundantly blessed. Creative people are drawn to us. Divine ideas flow through us. Financial resources bless us. And with God as our source, we accomplish mighty works together. And so it is. Our service leader today is the lovely Reverend Robin Moore, and she is going to share the daily word with us now.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, so today's daily word is kindness. Kindness is the language of my heart. I set the intention today to give from my heart, to show compassion and kindness to everyone I meet. I being kind to myself, I take time for spiritual self-care and prioritize good nutrition, relaxation, and exercise. I am gentle with myself when I come up short, filling my self-talk with words of affirmation and compassion. Being kind to myself makes being kind to others easy and natural. I am patient and understanding, and I seek harmony and accord in my relationships. I let the small irritations go, remaining calm and pleasant. I look for ways to lighten the load of others and don't hesitate to offer a helping hand. My kindness helps create the kingdom of heaven here on earth. The scripture is Matthew 25:35. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. Again, that's Matthew 25:35. And the affirmation will say together, kindness is the language of my heart. Again, kindness is the language of my heart.
Good morning. Let's all stand up and sing this together. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This peaceful, this peaceful, this peaceful day. This peaceful, this peaceful, this peaceful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you.
Yes, it felt great. Thank you. So I just invite us to just take a deep breath in and just absorb that wonderful energy. Giving thanks for this day. And sweet Spirit, we are so grateful to be together this morning, to be together as one family, one mind, one body, knowing that there is only one presence and one power active in our lives and in our affairs. And we're so grateful for Unity of Richmond, for a place to gather, to worship, and to just acknowledge the presence of God that is within us. We come today with open minds and open hearts, receiving that which is ours to receive, and sharing our light and love with those here this day. And we just give great thanks for the lesson, the service, and everything that we gained this morning through the service. And so it is. Amen. All right, so next we have the Metro Prayer. And together we'll say, we pray for public, nonprofit, and religious social service work and ministries in metropolitan Richmond, for all in need of social services, all social service departments and caseworkers, for partnership between the church and other institutions serving the needy. All right, and now we have our announcements. So first we have Yoga Sutras with Barbara Hess, and it'll be October 6th, 13, 20, 27th. It's a Thursday evening from 7 to 9. You can register out there in the gathering space. There is a sign-up sheet, correct? Okay, and then the next announcement, Susan would like to come up and talk about the art play shop.
You got some art. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can still spell. We is one. We meaning all together in singular one. We are all together, even though there is this illusion that we are separate spacesuits walking around here. We is one. And this came out of the art gala event. All of this represents people's expressions of love and joy and fun. So this came from the art gala event. All of you folks that came, thank you. Yeah. Okay. The next thing I wanted to let you know is on the art play shop, what's up is it's going to be painting, a collage, and then painting on top of the collage on canvas. And there may be involved some flowers and seashells. So remember, no art experience. In fact, if you want to paint with a paintbrush in your teeth or your toes, you can do that. The idea is that we just come together and have fun and release our creativity. So sign up. It's coming up on the 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And next we have My Grandmother's Hands. It will be facilitated by Barbara Smith, and Mayor Taylor. It's a 6-week book study from 7 to 8:30, but it doesn't have a start date. What's the start date? October 19th. So My Grandmother's Hand, October 19th, 7 to 8:30. It's a 6-week book study here at Unity of Richmond. It will be in person only. Next, we have guided meditations with Reverend Lydia Evans. Need help finding your center? That will be it started yesterday, October 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd from 1 to 2 p.m. This is also in person. Is it virtual at any point or just in person? Okay, in person as well. Join Reverend Lydia and the crew as they do guided meditations. Next, we have Compassionate Care Team. We are putting together a compassionate care team to help strengthen our community and look out for each other. We are looking for volunteers who can give rides to church on Sunday or doctor's appointments or drop off groceries when needed. If you're available to assist with that, there's a sign-up sheet out in the gathering space, or you can sign up at unityrva.org/events/ and let us know your hours of availability. The community picnic has been rescheduled due to the weather conditions, and it will be announced when the new date is. All right, and then Reverend Vicky's bowl service has also been rescheduled, and the date will be announced. And then Valerie's going to come up with the last announcement.
All right, our last announcement is that a month goes by fairly quickly, and we are approaching our time with serving at Caritas on October 14th. Each month we have a group of folks that goes down to Stockton Street and shares meals and fellowship with the women's homeless shelter. So we have a sign-up sheet here that's going to go around the room, and we'll have a meeting next Sunday after service to organize the food, the meals, and so forth. And so far, we only have one person on this list, so we need to see this list filled up. So we would love to see it filled up. And we'll meet next Sunday again, as I said, to go over details of how we're going to organize for the 14th. All right? Now, the other thing that is a little kind of fun and unexpected is that we've discovered that in the office we have had some New Year's Eve or Burning Bowl, service letters to Spirit, letters to yourself, that we do every year as part of our New Year's Eve service. And what has come to our attention is that we have the 2019 letters that did not go out in 2020 or 2021. And Robin, here's yours. Lynn and Tom, I got yours. So we're going to hand some of these out as we can, but also we may need to, Edie, here's yours. Debbie, Bernice. Anyway, we have a lot more, and we'll mail the ones out that we need to. But it'll be like a time capsule. You'll open it up and say, here's where I was at in 2019. Anyway, so thank you. And now I'll turn this over to our music team with the lovely Katrina Carol Lewis as our vocalist today.
Good morning, beloveds. I met a man without a dollar to his name, who had no traits of any value but his smile. I met a man who had no yearn or claim to fame, who was content to let life pass him for a while. And I was sure that all I ever wanted was a life like the movie stars led. But then he kissed me right here, and he said, I'll give you stars and the moon and a soul to guide you and a promise I'll never go. I'll give you hope to bring out all the life inside you and a strength that will help you grow. I'll give you truth and a future that's 20 times better than any Hollywood plot. And I thought, I'd rather have a yacht. I met a man who lived his life out on the road, who left a wife and kids in Portland on a whim. I met a man whose fire and passion always showed, who asked if I could spare a week to ride with him. And I was sure that all I ever wanted was a life that was scripted and planned. And he said, but you don't understand. I'll give you stars and the moon and the open highway and a river beneath your feet. I'll give you days full of dreams if you travel my way and a summer you can't repeat. I'll give you nights full of passion and days of adventure, no strings, just warm summer rain. And I thought, I'd rather have champagne. I met a man who had a fortune in the bank, who had retired at age 30, set for life. I met a man and didn't know which stars to thank. And then he asked one day if I would be his wife. And I looked up, and all that I could think of was the life I had dreamt I would live. And I said to him, what will you give? I'll give you cars and a townhouse in Turtle Bay and a fur and a diamond ring. And we'll be married in Spain on my yacht today and we'll honeymoon in Beijing. And you'll meet stars at the parties I throw at my villas in Nice and Paris in June. And I thought, okay. And I took a breath and I got my yacht. And the years went by, and it never changed, and it never grew, and I never dreamed. And I woke one day, and I looked around, and I thought, my God, I'll never have the moon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina, Forrest, Ryan, and Ian. Thank you, thank you. Now, if I ask you, where are my glasses? Tell me where they are. Okay? Well, good morning. It's my, good morning. I like that. We got response already, a response. So today is part 2 and the completion of our message on the ways of the mystic. I'm calling it the rest of the story. And what ways of the mystic, and it's from the Joan Borysenko's book, 7 Paths to God, The Ways of the Mystic. And in her book, she outlines seven paths, spiritual paths, 7 styles of connecting with the divine that are unique. And they correspond with our 7 chakras, they correspond with the directions of the medicine wheel, and they correspond with some various yogic paths. Because there are mystical threads in all the world religions, and because our soul is on a journey into spiritual truth. Many religions were, as we journeyed in consciousness, many religions were birthed as humankind evolved. The Kabbalah is, for example, the path of Jewish mysticism. Sufism is the path of Islamic mysticism. And we have also Christian mysticism, which is varied by practice and study, but they range from that ecstatic vision of the soul that are described by the likes of Hildegard of Bingen and some of the St. John of the Cross and some various early leaders, and also the mystical union with God that is contemplative. Contemplative when you go within and contemplate Scripture or holy texts. So let's review the definition of mysticism and the definition of a mystic. We have slides for those, and the Webster's Dictionary defines mysticism as the doctrine of truths believed to transcend ordinary understanding, or of a direct, intimate union of the soul with God through contemplation or spiritual ecstasy. And the definition of a mystic is a person who claims insight into mysteries transcending ordinary human knowledge, as by direct communication with the divine or immediate intuition in a state of spiritual ecstasy. And this week, I have also I'm sharing a quote by Andrew Harvey, who's a British writer and a religious scholar. And I have had his book for many, many years. It's called The Essential Mystics, The Soul's Journey into Truth. And he delves into all the different spiritual paths in this book. He says this in the foreword of the book: the word mystic may mislead or intimidate some people. The prestige accorded to it has been traditionally so exalted that they feel such a heightened perception and joy belong to and are attainable only by a few chosen human beings. This is far from the case. Mystical experience is always available, like the divine grace it is, to any who really want it, and all human beings are given in the course of their lives glimpses into the heart of the real, which they are free to pursue or forget. A mystical experience can come out of the ordinary. It can come out of beholding the beauty of art, poetry, music, nature, and it can come out of tragedy, illness, or loss. What it does do, though, regardless, is to shock us out of our daily habits and out of our mundane thinking patterns, and it gives us a glimpse of the eternal and our relation to it. It's my intention with this series, as we finish this up today, that it would help you to identify your own personal style of meeting the divine that can only be experienced as love. And it gives you the desire and motivation to pursue that path that is uniquely yours. And then also that we can understand one another, because there are many paths and there are others that are different than our own, of course. And our author has said, a mystic sees, the next slide, a mystic sees beyond the illusion of separateness into the intricate web of life in which all things are expressions of the single whole. You can call this the web of life. You can call it God, the Tao, the Great Spirit, infinite mystery, Mother or Father, but it can only be known as love. So here is, again, a recap of the 7 paths before we take up where we left off last week. The first one is path of earth and home, the path of finding the divine in ordinary living of everyday life. 2 is creativity and abundance and generosity of spirit, which I can't help but think about Susan and her sharing of her art and how she empowers us to share our creativity when I study this and about this path. The third path is, how can I help? It's the passion to serve. The fourth is the way of the heart, bridging earth and heaven. The fifth is the path of discipline and ethics, not my will but thine be done. The sixth path is the opening of the wisdom eye, contemplation and transformation. And the seventh is the way of faith, paradox and grace. So to review quickly for these first couple that we went over last week, path 1, that one is associated with our first chakra, our life force, our chi, energy. It's associated with the direction of earth in the medicine wheel. And path 1, people connect with the divine through nature and consider themselves primary stewards over the planet and see the interconnectedness of the web of all life. And they are passionate about that stewardship. Path 2 people are those who use their creativity by listening to the feminine receptive aspect and the masculine aspect of self, and finds the avenue through which to share their gifts and empower others to also connect with and share their gifts. And they find balance in life that's motivated by spirit and yet appreciating the world in which we live, by sharing that creativity and that abundance in all its forms to empower others. And that's the generosity of spirit that is part of that path. The third path is, now that we're going to move on to the rest of the ones in a little more detail. The first one is third one, is how can I help, and the passion to serve. It's passion to service. It's our solar plexus, which is called the solar plexus because it's like the solar plexus is the solar energy. It's the inner light. The inner light. And it's also karma yoga, because karma yoga is all about service, selfless service. Path 3 people have charisma. A lot of people will follow them, and as mentioned last week, they are so passionate about it that people will be drawn to them, or they will want to run away because of that zeal and that passion. Might be intimidating, but the ideal, of course, is that passion is directed toward spirit and directed toward the greater good. Because there are 2 types of power that we can tap into. One is personal power, where we're using our personal power, our personal energy and effort, and the other is the power of spirit. Now, our personal energy wanes. The power of spirit is inexhaustible. We want to, when we notice that we are getting drained, then it's time to step back. It's time to relax and recharge. And, even though this is a specific path, all of these paths are part of us. And the wisdom of these paths are applying to all of us, regardless of what our personal path is. So when Jesus was asked, how did he perform these miracles? He did not claim it for himself. He said, it is the Father within me that does the work. Humility is a key for the path 3, and all of us. Healers and mystics fall into this category, and they need to have humility and know that power flows to and through, yet we are not, yet is not sourced by that individual, that it is sourced by spirit. So many people are dedicated to service without being a path 3 mystic. Now, all of our paths embody service, but for the path 3 mystic, it is a passion. It's a fire in the belly, and it occupies your life day and night. Path 3 people will give their lives to causes. They are also really good at rallying others to the cause, empowering and bringing others together for that. And path 3 people have gotten themselves into trouble when they misuse their power. So if you think you are a path 3 mystic, here are some tips to keep in mind. And even if you're not, these are all great practices. But the one is to be mindful of power, that when we lose our humility, then things go awry. And I couldn't help but think of Jesus in the wilderness when he was tested by the adversary. And the 3 things he was tested was the appetites, the desire for power, the desire for fame. That experience that was shared in the New Testament is so applicable to our life, to having humility. So all spiritual paths come together. And the second one is being mindful of charisma, that charismatic people will draw others to them quite easily, and that can bring a lot of entanglements. And it's always best to remember that attraction is really to that inner light, to the light of spirit. That's what draws us to people, and people to us, is that light of spirit. And another one is to seek conscious communion through contemplative prayer. Move into that interior silence that we can focus on to connect with that spirit. And this is our fourth principle, the practice of prayer and meditation. All right, let's move on to path 4, which is the way of the heart, which is our fourth chakra, which bridges heaven and earth through love. When Mother Teresa was asked, what is the purpose of life? Her answer was to give and receive love. She was a path 4. The path of seeing the face of the divine in each other. Now, in 1893, at the Chicago World Parliament of Religions, this was a momentous time in New Thought history, that Swami Vivekananda came to this Parliament of Religions and spoke. And the words that he spoke about humankind's inner divinity were not received real well. It was considered blasphemous, and still is by some today. He told the story of a lion that had been raised with sheep, and that when the lion was told he was a lion and not a sheep, the lion protested until they showed the lion his reflection. And what the Swami then said is, and you are lions, you are pure infinite souls for whom you have been praying for, weeping for in churches and temples, is your own self. Capital S, self. A teacher once told me the meaning of guru, which is a respected teacher in the Hindu religion, is that a guru teacher holds up a mirror and says, gee, you are you. Gee, you are you. Guru, right? Got it? Now, these influences influenced our early co-founders. Charles Fillmore was influenced by these concepts from Swami Vivekananda. I believe the Fillmores were at that Parliament of World Religions. And Hinduism says that God dwells in each person as their essential self. In Buddhism, it's called the Rigpa, our own true nature. Now, our nature gets clouded over with thoughts of unworthiness and doubt, separation, a sense of separation. So the path to divine nature is to dismantle the ego and part those clouds so that that inner light can shine through with the recognition of that inner light that Unity calls the Christ consciousness. This is the foundation of Unity and New Thought, that God is everywhere present and that divinity is within every person. Now there's a story about a rabbi who went to heaven, and on being reviewing his life, he told God that he had lived his life to be as wise as Solomon, as steadfast as David, and as brave as Moses. And then God asked the rabbi, why didn't you just be yourself? So this path of the heart is the practice of bhakti yoga, the Hindu path of merging with the divine through devotion. Now there's plenty of other faiths that merge with the divine through devotion. That's the path. All paths have some form of devotional practice and merging with the divine, whether it be through Mother Mary, whether it be through Heavenly Father, whether it be through the Trinity, or through the totem animals of the First Nations people. All of these ways that we can connect through devotion. The fruits of this devotion are all the same. It's love and respect and kindness and a peaceful heart. So the benefits and practices for Path 4 people are the metta meditation, loving kindness meditation. We bless self, we bless others, bless the ones that you love, bless the ones that you're in conflict with, bless all beings. Practice forgiveness, both of self and others. Of course, seeing the divine in other people, that's a given. And using music or chant and songs to open your heart. Path 5, let's move on to that. Path 5 is the path of discipline and ethics and will, surrendering the personal will to the divine will. There's a story about two monks who were walking in the sunrise, and it was along the banks of a swollen river and from the spring rains, and they came upon a woman who was struggling. She was standing in the middle of a stream, holding her skirts up, struggling in the cold, icy water because she had slipped and lost her footing. So the elder monk walked out into the stream, picked up the woman, and carried her to safety, set her down. Now, these two monks were in a vow of silence, so they did not talk for the rest of the day because their silent period was from sunrise to sunset. Well, as the sun began to set, the younger monk said to the older, "How could you have picked up that woman when you have taken a vow never to look at a woman or touch a woman and carry her across? How could you?" And then the elder monk said, oh, and he also told him he had broken his vows and offended God. The elder monk said, "Brother, I put the woman down 10 hours ago, and you've been carrying her around all day." Path 5s follow a moral code and are disciplined to follow it. Sometimes we have to make decisions to follow a higher law that supersedes the letter of the law. You may recall that Jesus was criticized for healing people on the Sabbath because it was against the laws. So we have to think about those things, or people that are in this ethics and morality. They struggle with these kinds of things that we come up against, these oxymorons such as holy war. Holy war? Yeah. So we want to follow a moral code, thou shalt not kill, and, struggle with that. So do we go and fight for our country or our tribe or whatever. So sometimes this path gives rise to fanaticism, and fear supersedes love. And the remedy to that is that will, surrendering our personal will to the higher will, which will always bring the path that is most, or the decision or the act that is the most loving. Now, there's benefits to this path of ethics and discipline, which is that these are guidelines to keep life flowing along smoothly and preventing disruptive acts. It also promotes positive behaviors such as charity and kindness. And it helps the individual develop willpower. So when we use them positively, our will, focused strongly through discipline, helps us work co-creatively with the divine. So, and will is one of our 12 powers. It's the ability to choose and the ability to commit and the willingness to submit to our divine holy side. Now, this will and intention to live a disciplined life according to this template for right actions of living and acts of compassion and creativity and service. That's the benefit of this. And the author gives that the example that Jesus was an example of this Path 5 mystic. He followed his beliefs and the law in every way, and he was true to spirit. He avoided the pitfalls of this fanaticism, and his teachings were of love and kindness and forgiveness. Paths or practices for Path 5 are to reflect on love when you feel righteous or zealous about anything. Reflect if you are doing your will or Spirit's will. Okay, we can all learn from that, right? Have you ever felt righteous? Study what you believe as your moral code and commandments. Reflect on them. And look at them, and are they relevant to your life and to modern life? Refrain from judging others' path or their lack of path. And the other is admit when you are wrong, because self-righteousness is a pitfall of this path. And the other is to do something fun every day to break up this rigidity. In other words, we need to lighten up. We need to lighten up. So do something that gets us away from that rigidity and makes us more flexible. Be spontaneous. Path 6, sixth chakra, that's is the third eye, the wisdom eye. It's through contemplation as we move on to path 6. It's through contemplation and transformation. It's represented by Siddhartha, who was a prince. He had been sheltered from the world, raised with privilege, and he had not seen the suffering and ugliness of the world but he became curious, and he wanted his charioteer to take him outside the palace walls. And as the story goes, he went outside and he saw things he had never seen before. He saw an old man. He saw a sick person. He saw a dead person. He saw a holy man who had nothing but his loincloth, wearing his loincloth and his begging bowl, as they call it, because the holy man gives up everything and would go from place to place, trusting in God to supply whatever is needed. And so he began to question. He began to want to understand the suffering in the world. How can we ease the suffering? So he himself then began to study with various teachers. He himself began to fast until he became so emaciated and weak. And finally, he gave up all of his privilege. He left his wife and family and all of that and became a different person. But he finally came to the realization that self-withholding was not the path to enlightenment. And he found a Bodhi tree, he sat under it, and he decided he wasn't to meditate, and he wasn't going to get up until he had the answer. And then it is said that in the night of the full moon in May, which Buddhists call the Wesak moon, he attained enlightenment and discovered the Four Noble Truths that are the foundation of Buddhism. The Path 6 mystic must often reach a spiritual crisis that causes the ego to die to the old life in order to awaken to that peace and compassion of divine union. A Path 6 person is motivated to live a life of contemplation and meditation, even though they live in a secular world. Path 6 is also that direction of the West in the medicine wheel, which is the direction of the mystery, the great mystery, the dream time. It's represented by times in life when we go through the dark night of the soul. Now, not everybody that has a spiritual crisis necessarily wakes up to this, and not everybody who is a contemplative and on this path has to have a crisis in order to wake up. But there is a calling to periodically participate in silent meditation and retreats, and they are on a path of direct experience rather than a set of rules. And it is the path of self-inquiry and mindfulness. Excuse me. I have a tickle in my throat. That path of mindfulness and self-inquiry leads one to become a witness consciousness and holds no judgment. So some of the practices that help a Path 6 person are adopting a regular meditation practice that suits your temperament or religion. Find a teacher for guidance. Being gentle with ourselves, not judging our progress. And staying clear of spiritual materialism, which is becoming attached to spiritual powers. Because as this person becomes more enlightened, they have more intuition, more ability to see and predict things that in the future, and to, be able to read other people. So not becoming attached to those gifts that come. And the last path is a path 7, our crown chakra. It's the upper direction of the medicine wheel. It's the way of paradox and grace, the path of faith. And this path is a culmination of all the paths. The path of faith is the faith that is steadfast, no matter what is happening. There is a non-attachment. We're not swayed by praise, nor are we swayed by blame or tragedy. Now, there's a difference to understand non-attachment. Non-attachment that is faith versus non-attachment that is that of from depression or closed-heartedness. So the results of that, knowing that that is true faith, is that the person is peaceful, is at peace, finds their peace no matter what. They are helpful, creative, and compassionate. And as we all go develop our own spiritual journeys and paths, I think we all get to that point where we have faith, where we've seen and experienced a lot. And as long as we've stayed committed to that path through the discipline of staying committed to our path of the divine, then we develop all of these 7 paths, qualities of all of them, and we have, sort of a balance in life. The author refers to Harvard theologian James Fowler, who talks about faith in correspondence with our stages of psychological development. So we are all going through and waking up gradually through these stages of spiritual growth. The 7 paths of the mystic are unique in ways that we can meet with the divine. And each of these unique qualities are a part of the whole. We may have a primary soul path. We may have a secondary path. But we are all made up of these qualities, which are all a part of the one. And we can develop all of them. So remember to follow your right path and all paths that lead to that one destination, that of your divinity, realizing your divinity and your connection and your expression of divinity. And to meet that divinity through your path results in the experience of love, of benevolence, and each path leads to divine love, to enlightened awareness, to living truth that carries you through any storm of life. It is your protection, it is your sustenance, it's your peace, and it is your insight into the mystery, transcending ordinary human knowledge. By direct communication with the divine. It is that sight beyond the illusion of separateness into the intricate web of life in which all things are expressions of that single whole, of that unity, of that oneness. So let us dedicate ourselves, commit ourselves to following our path, to be yourself. And remember, G, you are you. All right. So let us get ready for meditation. We'll go into an experience now by going into meditation that will help us connect and unify with that inner light. So let's take a deep breath and continue to let ourselves to relax, to let go, coming fully into the present moment. And imagine or sense or feel that above your head is a brilliant light, and it falls like a waterfall over you, coming down through the top of your head, into your heart and your hands and your feet. And this light washes over you, and it shows you the purity of your own heart. And as we connect with that purity of the heart, we surrender to that love, that wisdom, that power, that grace. And in the words of Gary Lynn Floyd, love cover me, light any darkness. Love cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred, and guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Until all I see is not a me and a you, or an I, but the I am. In this present moment, I am the place where Spirit shows up. I am the place where love shows up. I am the place where peace, compassion, and kindness shows up. For I am that. And so it is. So let's breathe in some deep breaths and let them go. We come back into the awareness of your seat. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. As we prepare for our giving, and do we have some children who are going to join us today? So we will bless them. We give thanks for our families and our youth, and we just see them as we say our prayer. We see our youth of Unity program growing and thriving with activity. Our programs teach and empower children and youth to live authentic and powerful lives using our Unity principles. And so it is. All right. So you have the various ways in which you can share your generosity with Unity of Richmond, and you can do it online. Some of you are doing it consistently monthly, and we give thanks for that consistency. And you can, you'll be hearing from us, the board, soon about our change of platform, so there might be some information we need to give out to those of you who are giving through push, but it will be a minor change, and we will keep you informed. So let us say our prosperity blessing, divine love, expressing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
I can read your mind and I know your story. I see what you're going through. Yeah, it's an uphill climb and I'm feeling sorry, but it's gonna come to you. Yeah, so don't surrender, 'cause you can win in this thing called love. When you want it the most, there's no easy way out. When you're ready to go and your heart's left in doubt, don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe it, and that's the way it is. When you question me for a simple answer, I don't know what to say, no, but it's plain to see, if we stick together, you're gonna find your way, yeah. So don't surrender, 'cause you can win in this thing called love. When you want it the most, there's no easy way out. When you're ready to go and your heart's left in doubt, don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe it, and that's the way it is. When life is empty with no tomorrow and loneliness starts to call, baby, don't worry, forget your sorrows, 'cause love's gonna conquer it all. Oh, when you want it the most, there's no easy way out. When you're ready to go and your heart's left in doubt, don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe it. Yeah,
That's the way.
Don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe it, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe it, and that's the way it is.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
So we can have our ushers come forward so we can give thanks for the gifts that we received today. Thank you for all of those who gave and continue to give. So together we'll say, we give thanks for the gifts that support our mission of creating a spiritually awakened world. Thank you and amen. And now it is time to say thank you to everyone who helped with the service. Katrina, blessings always, amazing, wonderful. Forrest, Ian, and Ryan. To everyone in the back, I think we have Rob and Rich and And Tasha, I can't see her back there. And to Valorie, of course, for her wonderful message, as always, just being our rock. And to all of those who came this morning and all those online, for we know together we make this work. And so it is.
And to Robin.
And thank you to me.
And one more thing, thank you, those of you who have contributed to our living tree. Go out and admire our new railing down there at the end of the education wing. It has been installed. It's beautiful. It is safe and steady and sturdy. So thank you. That's one off the list. We are prosperous.
We are
Thank you.
prosperous. Thank you, everybody. And together we'll stand and we'll say the prayer of protection, and then we will sing the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. The power of God protects us. We are power. The presence of God watches over us. We are presence. Wherever we are, God is. We are divine.
That was meant to be with God as creator. Family, all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my